calling the charge, quote, ludicrous. Jack Welch joined us. I think she called your claim ludicrous. What were you getting
Well, it's been called worse than that by some on the Twitter sphere. Look, Eric, I have no idea where this number came from, but if you look at it, we added 600,000 jobs in the government sector in August and September, and that's the largest number we've had since the study's been done over a 2-month period. 600,000 jobs. In September, the household employment, which we normally don't use, added 780,000 jobs. That's the highest since 1983. I've been reviewing businesses all week, some dozen businesses. No one's stronger than they were in the third quarter than they were in the second quarter. We've been told, Eric, that you need 150 to 200,000 to stay even.
Right. The
whole flat. Well, in the last 2 months, we've gone from 8.3 to 8.1 by changing the participation rate assumption. Now we're going from 8.1 to 7.8 by changing the household numbers assumptions. Look, I don't know what the right number is, but I'll tell you, these numbers don't smell right when you think about where the economy is right now.
So what do you think happened?
I honestly don't know. Maybe we got the wrong measurement. Maybe we shouldn't have been talking about 8.3 and 8.5 and 8.6, and maybe we shouldn't have been having 150,000 to hold even as a benchmark. But every economist this morning predicted roughly 90 to 120,000 and 8.2 unemployment.
Sure. Let me pick up on that a little bit, Jack. I have Wall Street Journal polled 25 economists prior to the release this morning. The lowest number, unemployment number that any of these 25, we're talking Bank of America, Barclays, Capital, Credit Suisse, Citigroup, Daiwa, HSBC, down the board, the lowest number was 8.1% unemployment, the high 8.2. They came out with an average of about, the Wall Street Journal, 8.1%. So, what we're to understand is that the 25 most prominent economists in America believe it should have been between 8.1% and 8.2%, given 114,000 jobs created, which it was, exactly. But the Labor Department's telling us 7.8.
And that's why I tweeted. And that's exactly why I tweeted. I tweeted last night predicting that they would come in at 7.9. So they could be below 8. Now look, there are assumptions in here, Eric. I mean, this whole number is made up of a whole mess of assumptions. Who's participating, who's not working, who's trying for work but has dropped out. All these things. It just raises the question. I think there ought to be a good discussion about how this number is calculated. That's all.
Let's talk about that a little bit. A quick little look into how they calculate both of the numbers. The establishment survey, which shows how many jobs are created, it asks companies how many people they hire. That's how they come up with that number. The problem is the household survey, which is the unemployment rate.
Phone calls.
60,000 phone calls. A little room for error in that one, though.
Assumptions. A little room for assumptions. And
you're being nice.
It's just ironic that these
Why are you being nice now?
It's just no, I'm not being nice. I'm saying what I believe. It's just ironic that these assumptions all came this way the month before the election. You draw your own conclusions.
Well, let me do this. Guys, pull up the full screen, something we found out today. We're doing assumptions, but we also did our homework a little bit. The Bureau of Labor Statistics full screen, if you can show that. There are at least two, Harley Frazis and Stephen Phillips, that work at the Bureau of Labor Statistics currently, who've both been donors to the Obama campaign. Should I make any assumptions from that?
No, I don't think you. I can't make any judgment on that. But let's step back a minute. Let's go to a government and a labor department that bankrupted the auto industry and didn't go through the normal bankruptcy, didn't give the creditors a chance, and handed the companies over to the union in a big extent. Let's go to a labor department and LRB that took Boeing when they went to South Carolina and held them up to not go there because of the union issues. So you've got a labor department that are ideologues. You have ideologues in two areas in the government for sure. In the EPA and in labor. And these people...
But, Jack, we're supposed to assume that Labor Department may be ideological, but labor statistics isn't?
Well, I can't judge that. I just raised the question about this economy. Do you think we've had does it feel like a 6% improvement in employment in the last 60 days? Does it feel that way?
Jack, take a listen to both Governor Romney and President Obama on the campaign trail, spinning in their own direction the Labor Department number today. Listen.
We found out that the unemployment rate has fallen to its lowest level since I took office. More Americans entered the workforce, more people are getting jobs.
Truth is, if the same share of people were participating in the workforce today is on the day the president got elected, why our unemployment rate would be around 11%. That's the real reality of what's happening out there.
That's right. If you add in the people that they say have left the workforce, which, by the way, another assumption.
Another assumption.
They're not calling every single person. They're
Another assumption.
estimating that number. If you add those back in, Governor Romney's right. It exceeds 11%, in excess of 11% unemployment.
Look, this number's got a lot of room in it, and it came out very favorably, just 1/10 of a point below when the president took office. Now, I was born in Salem, Mass., and I don't know all the way the fancy folks in Washington do it, but this is a funny thing to have happen. And it's not because I'm, as the Twitter sphere likes to say, those who don't agree with me right now, that I'm old and I'm senile and all these things. That's not what it's about. This is about asking questions. Asking questions. Does the economy feel like the employment's improved by 6% in the last 60 days?
Let me ask you this, Jack. How many people need to understand, Jack Welch, how many people did you have under your employ at the peak?
410,000.
410,000. You ran a major international corporation. You know what you're talking about. The largest on the planet. You know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't know about, I know this. This economy doesn't feel like the employment improved to this level, and it's just, maybe it's a coincidence. At the month before the election, we have a number that comes out 1/10 below when the president took office. From an ideologue division of the federal government. I don't have any idea how they do it. They're filled with assumptions, Eric.
Yeah. Jack, I'm not a believer in coincidences. I don't think there are any in life. Part-time workers jumped 600,000 for the month. 600,000 part-timers. What does that tell you?
From the phone survey.
The phone survey.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. It's surprising. These numbers, it doesn't feel that way. I went through reviews of more than a dozen businesses this week. No business that I talked to, from food to widgets to rental cars to anything. It's a private equity company. None of them were stronger in the third quarter than they were in the second.
Right.
The economic activity in the second was downgraded to 1.3%. So the economic activity doesn't seem to correlate with this surge all of a sudden the month before the election in employment.
Very important. Jack, one more number before we let you go. 600,000 manufacturing jobs lost during the Obama presidency. What does that tell you?
Tells us that we got to get our competitiveness back. We need less regulation, a better tax policy, a better energy policy to grow the hell out of America.
There you go. Jack, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jack. All right, so which is going